Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Schifrin, Chairman of the Townsend Housing Authority, and I'm about to call this meeting to order at 6:22 p.m. on Friday, March 1st. It's a little bit later than posted, but we were here and just had some technical difficulties at this time, so I apologize for the late start. I'd like to call like a roll call, please.
Natalie Call.
Chaz Sexton Duranian.
And Laura Schifrin. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And again, I want to thank all of our veterans for their service to our country and to enable us to be free. Additions, deletions to the agenda unforeseen prior to 48 hours of this meeting, there are none. And approved minutes, meeting minutes of January 9th, February 6th, and February 20th.
I make a motion to table the minutes until next meeting,
Okay,
March
do I hear a
30th.
second? Okay. So the minutes will be tabled to time specific on Wednesday, March 13th. Chairman's report. I would like to ask for the board's assistance in a little bit of a reorganization. I would like to step down from the chairmanship for a little bit, and due to personal reasons, and of course I'm not leaving the board, and I'll just reverse roles into, well, we don't have vice chairman. Okay, so, and I can't reverse the role of a state rep. So if someone would like to make a motion to appoint Chaz for an interim chairmanship and appoint me as a vice chair for the time being, I would greatly appreciate it.
I make a motion to make Chaz Duranian the interim chairperson of this committee and Lori Schifrin as the vice chair of the Housing Authority.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I accept.
Okay, and then I'll accept. And I appreciate the reorganization. So thank you. Well, we accepted. I need a vote.
All in favor? Right.
Yeah, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And aye. Thank you very much, everyone. Next, it's under appointments. We really don't have an appointment with the individual, but as we were approached right after the meeting, our last meeting, and had a discussion with Kevin Smith, and he graciously offered to come back on the board as an appointment at this time to fill the position or the vacancy of the general member. And I would, of course, well, can I entertain a motion, please, for that?
I make a motion to appoint Kevin Smith as the general member on the Townsend Housing Authority.
I second.
Okay, with a slight amendment, if you don't mind.
Amend it to what Board of Selectmen has to appoint.
Yes, for us to recommend to the Board of
We
Selectmen.
will recommend Kevin Smith to the Board of Selectmen, and until then, until they vote, they need to vote to appoint him.
Right,
Okay?
correct.
Okay.
Okay. And of course, this position is
Up.
only until the election, which at this point, it may be too late for him to
Not
take
yet.
out papers because he wasn't.
I think they were, I don't mean to interrupt, I thought they had posted something.
Today's the last day to take out papers.
So it was takeout or an extension or whatever. I'm
I
not
didn't
sure.
see the extension,
I'm not
but
sure. I saw something though today.
Okay,
I wasn't
so-
sure. Correct me.
the last one that I saw was March 1st was the last day to take out papers, March 4th is the last day to return papers, and March 13th is when the registrars have to certify the papers.
Okay.
By 4 o'clock on March 13th.
I
So-
did see something in regards to
Yeah.
an extension on, but that was for the town meeting. It wasn't, or for articles, for warrant
Something-
articles.
Oh, that could be.
Yeah,
I'm not
it was
sure.
an
I saw something
extension
on
of the warrant
Facebook today,
articles.
that's all.
Did we,
Let's find it.
were they emails that came in?
No, it was something on Facebook today
Oh,
that I saw.
I haven't
See if
been on
can
Facebook
find it.
today.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. I just read it too.
Wouldn't we have gotten something as board members from Kathy or Carolyn?
Yeah, I would have gotten something on.
Yeah, that's
on
what
our
I was
housing
thinking, but I saw
mailbox.
something. Maybe it was shooting on it. Sorry, okay. We can always check with them on Monday, just to see. Especially since we just did reorganization, possibly.
I did get from the selectmen's agenda, I did get verification that we are on their agenda for the 5th at 6:05, it looks like.
Okay.
Excuse me.
For the appointment?
No, so I don't, okay, so I don't know, but at any rate, all those in favor of having Kevin Smith recommended to the Board of Selectmen to fill the vacant position of general member? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we will move that Chaz, you will now move that recommendation forward to the Board of Selectmen.
Correct.
Okay, as the interim chair. And so in the work session, warrant article prepared by Attorney Costa to present to the BOS. Votes may be taken. And Chaz, would you read the warrant article that we received from the attorney?
Yes, this is the draft of the article that we would like to move forward. Article, whatever number it would be, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to file and prosecute a petition for declaratory judgment on a court of competent jurisdiction to petition the General Court of the Commonwealth under applicable law for special legislation and/or to pursue all such other similar actions as may be necessary to make available for potential future sale and redevelopment not yet authorized hereunder that certain parcel of Townsend-owned, town-owned land known as Atwood Acres, parcel 2B, situated off Dudley Road, consisting of 11 acres of land, more or less, and more fully described in a deed recorded in the Middlesex South District Registry of Deeds at Book 593, page 2646, or take any other action in relation thereto, submitted by the Townsend Housing Authority.
Okay, thank you. And I'll entertain a motion to submit this article to the Board of Selectmen at the Tuesday, March 5th meeting.
I make a motion that we submit the warrant article described earlier from the Townsend Housing Authority to be submitted to the selectmen on March 5th.
I second the motion.
Okay, any further discussion?
This basically, just so that we can put it out there as to what this is, there is the parcel of land that is the last parcel of land that would be, we would be able to build low to moderate income housing. We are looking to possibly get a feasibility study and other things that are associated with this particular land. So this is a first step in a multi-step process to be able to ask the selectmen if they would be in control, to let them know that we would like to be able to get in to that particular land, to do an assessment, to do impact studies, to see exactly what the land, what would be able to be built on that particular parcel. And this would be the first step in order for us to be able to do that.
Okay, and I'll just add to that when we presented a warrant article before in reference to the same piece of land, that some people felt that we went beyond the first step. And in hindsight, we did. I believe we had a meeting with Kim Craven here a couple of months ago, or shortly thereafter, the special town meeting. And I think I stated at that meeting that in hindsight, this is probably the best way to go, that we've made no decisions, that a vote taken before referencing a future partner has been rescinded, and we're looking forward to looking at many options now.
Correct.
And so, anything further to say on that? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a vote now. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Okay, that passes unanimously. Thank you, Chaz, for reading that. And the only thing that I would add to that is that we are getting input from other people now about various different ideas of what we might be able to do, and partnering with somebody that will keep the ownership in town. And we're still looking for land. So we would not refuse any buildable land here in town.
Anybody wants to
from
donate it?
Anyone who wants to donate it. But by the same token, everything takes time. And this first step will take some months to get done. And we're looking forward to that being done.
I do also want to say that as state representative, I have been talking with several different agencies, and I've also been working with our liaison from the Board of Selectmen in regards to the other options that are available to us. I'm trying to get a representative for our next meeting on the 13th from the DHCD, but in our conversation that I had over the weekend, there are several different options, not only for funding feasibility studies and for us to be able to see what other options that are there, but there are also funding options and working with partnering with a developer that will work with the town so that we would be able to keep it solely in town,
Right.
and not sell off a property to something and not get anything in return.
Right.
So there are other options that are out there that I wasn't aware of, and I think that within the coming months with our discussions, we should be able to really get a better grip on where we're going to go.
Right. And if maybe we can offer tax incentives to the partner, where basically that's what the affordable housing has gotten here in town, is they definitely pay much lower taxes than what we would derive if it was independently owned and not considered by a nonprofit.
Correct.
Kind of thing. So we're really excited about exploring other avenues. Okay, and next, I'll open this up to Chaz or Natalie, whichever, who would like to report on your meeting with the selectmen regarding the budget.
Okay. In our meeting with the selectmen in regards to our budget, it was requested that we had one item that was $35,000 for a feasibility study for the land that we just talked about. The Board of Selectmen had suggested that that would be a special warrant article if we were looking for that lump sum, and they suggested that that is not a recurring expense and that's not something that they would want to put on a budget. So they had taken that particular item off. The discussion in regards to any other item that we put in for our budget, there was no issue, no problems with anything. There was a lot of discussion involved with the staffing, and it was explained to the selectmen that my terminology was that the Housing Authority has been a satellite for many years, and on the books we need to get it tethered to the mothership. So we need to be able to have it anchored so that we're on a budget, we have administrative support, and the administrative support is named. The selectmen then had asked the town administrator, would they be able to add the Housing Authority to the job duties of the land use coordinator, and that was I think the direction that they were going. So the only other stipulation, or not stipulation, but the only other discussion was that with the hours or the amount of money that we had put in our budget worked out to be approximately 17 hours a week, I think it was. And if that was added to any other position currently, the planning board administrator, whatever, it's going to put them over. So they were suggesting that maybe we drop it down to maybe 10. So it's 10 hours a week.
Okay.
But that is something that the selectmen themselves were talking about. Not,
Okay,
yeah.
and they'll probably do that. Well, if we, and I think probably people have heard this from me in nauseam, but I'll just go back briefly to Townsend Woods. And my tenure on the Housing Authority has probably been more than 15 years, with a couple of breaks of a year or two here and there. And my entire time on the Townsend Housing Authority, before Townsend Woods opened, it was under the land use coordinator. And Kathy Arujo was land use coordinator at that time and was very instrumental in the fruition of Townsend Woods. I couldn't give her more credit
And the
than
housing
anyone
production
at-
plan.
Everything.
And all of that.
Everything.
Yeah, the housing chapter in the master plan as well, she was
Right.
instrumental in getting.
And as the land use coordinator, she worked closely with planning, conservation, zoning. They were all intertwined, which they in actuality are. So in her working with all the departments, she was training Jeannie Hollows and training Karen Chapman. And so that's why it was very smooth, you know, until about 3 years ago. So when we lost Karen, well, the Townsend Housing Authority had issues because we couldn't get a quorum
Right.
for about 2 years, while Karen was still with us and basically nothing got done.
Right.
So,
2.5, actually.
so basically, right, of the times that we were working on, and then of course there was all those hours trying to get the minutes caught up. But, so that is the place for that to be. We've never, ever, ever been without staff until the last 3 years. So whether it was written someplace or not, it still was the land use coordinator who had done the job.
Correct. So
So-
what this step was is to be able to, now it's on paper, now
Okay.
it's going to be there, so we will be able to, and I expressed that it would be the agenda, it would be minutes, it would be the other administrative functions, and you know, it didn't seem like they had a problem with any of that, so.
Because for the most part, unless you're in a housing plan approval timeframe, which is the year before gathering of information, then doing the actual housing plan itself, which used to be called affordable housing, and now it's the housing production plan.
Correct.
But meaning it falls under the same thing for our low to moderate income housing in town. So it's not intense all of the time as far as a staff-related thing. But when we need information and need to find an avenue to go, that's when their help is needed. So maybe on average, it's only 2 hours a week.
Right.
Okay? But when it comes to the time where we have to be working on something, that's when it may come to that 5 or 10 hours.
Yes, and I also explained that there's other, you know, grant writing is a big thing.
Right.
All right, so I don't have a problem writing the smaller grants that we have, but there are times that there's going to be some other documentation that needs to be put together. I don't have a problem submitting that to a position that would be able to compile it all together and then do the mailing out that we need to.
Right,
And
okay,
and they
good.
agreed with me with that as well.
Good.
So.
Awesome.
Yep. And there was one other thing that just popped out of my head in regards to that. Oh, the GIS services as well, because some of the grants that We are looking at, I know that the former land use coordinator used to help us with GIS services if we
Yes.
needed that, and that would have to come directly from the land use coordinator or somebody that deals with the GIS services for the town. For instance,
MRPC.
MRPC, in the quote that we had gotten for the feasibility study had GIS services in there. And if our town could do the GIS services, it lowered the cost of the actual feasibility study itself. So, you know, we need to be able to have somebody that is doing this position that can be also doing the GIS that we would need for the position as well.
And you expressed that to
Yep.
the selectmen?
Yeah, I told the
Okay.
selectmen
And they
that.
understood that?
Yep, yep.
Okay. Okay, so I think we're finally getting somewhere. So, any other business to come before us this evening? All right, hearing no other business, our next meeting date is March 13th at 6:30.
Correction, our next meeting is a joint meeting on Tuesday the 5th.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
With the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, so that's,
And then our formal Townsend Housing Authority meeting will be on the 13th.
okay. And if you could, well, you're going to do the next agenda,
Yep.
so just let us all know if you can get DHCD there, and then if you can, I will get Sheila there.
Okay.
Okay, because she's been in touch with me.
There was other correspondence that I had with Chris Kluckman. She had given me a wealth of information. I kind of narrowed it down to a couple of things. I'm going to send it out to the rest of the board.
Okay.
If you could just take a look at it. It's talking about programs. It throws in a couple of websites that I think that once we get up and running, we need to get Townsend on those websites as municipalities interested in working with other developers for low to moderate income housing, so that they can contact us. We can then invite them into one of our meetings and find out what they're looking for and what we can do to help them out, and vice versa.
Great,
Okay?
awesome. And then I'd just like to mention again that we are still looking for a videographer to get some training from Hartley. And again, would be a great rounding out of experiences for any students, whether they're seniors in high school or at the colleges, at the surrounding colleges. So we're not going to forget trying to get help for you, Hartley.
Thank you, most appreciated.
And we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. I would like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay, so we are adjourned at 6:44 PM, and I thank you all for your time this evening.
Thank you.